back to my lessons on note reading on the staffs. Now, this lesson, lesson number 5, is going to be a review mainly of what you have learned in the other 4 lessons. And I hope to this point it has been exciting for you. Again, my goal is to mention small little segments so that nothing becomes overwhelming and that you can look at these many times. You can go back to lesson 1, 2, whatever, and hopefully it will all come together very, very quickly. So this lesson, again, is going to be more of a review, and in fact, during this lesson, I'm going to quiz you to see if you remember where certain of the notes are. All right, let's start back once again with this right-handed, or what we call the treble, or the higher clef. And I'm going to write a note in right here. And from your experiences now, let's see if you know what that note is. So I'm sure you've already named it, but if you haven't, once again, it is the G because it points right there. All right, I'm going to write another note on here. See if you can guess what that one is. And of course, it's an E. And then once again, I want to put the standard middle C. And this one is always very obvious because it has this line through it. And again, the memory device being that the E cuts between the G and the C. And then finally, let me go ahead and do this. We're going to fill in the spaces here. And if you remember this one, it is, remember, face, space. Or I always like to put like a little happy face or something in this first space. And that reminds us that F is the note here. And then, of course, the only other one right in between the alphabet, and I like to refer to this one as the magnet stuck to this line right here, is the D. And once again, going back to review the idea of scale, going straight down, G, F, E, D, C. Now, again, the reason I started with these, they're the most obvious and probably the notes you will see most in your early stages of music, whether you're going to be a pianist or vocalist, what have you. Soon in the next lessons, we of course will expand this out, and I'll start going up here higher and show you what the notes are there. Now, in the same manner, remember that the left hand clef, or what we call the bass or the lower clef, is this one right here. And from the last lesson, or lessons, you notice that, of course, we have our middle C. Let's do the wide gap first. We're going to put this one and see if you remember what that one is. Now, if you recall, look at this. It cuts right across, and this letter, of course, here is an actual F, C, F, okay? Then, of course, let's see if you know what this one is. Remember, we're going backwards through the alphabet. And if you recall, the bird sits on top of the wire, B for bird, so we're going to call this note B. And then we go a little bit lower, as I showed in the last lesson, going downward. And of course, it has to be the A. And then finally, remember the one that's a little bit tough is this one in this first space in the bass. And of course, it is the G. But again, the other reason it's a G is as we go through the musical alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, notice we get to the end of it right here, and then it starts over backwards. Already, of course, this will give you a good idea of what these other notes are because you can start to figure them out by way of the scale. So those are the notes. Now, for the last part of this lesson, I'm going to erase this and I'm going to write a whole bunch of notes in here, and I'm going to do them at random because this will give you a good chance to see if you know them, and it can be really, really fun to see how fast you can name them. Now, the faster that you get at naming these, the better and easier, say you're a pianist and you're looking, the quicker and easier you'll be able to play or sing, or say you're a violinist, you can do it just like that. But the goal is to get super fast. I would even test yourself and see if you could do it, say, within a matter of 10, 15 seconds and get good enough and, check those other lessons out to see how that works. So there's this group, and then I'm going to put some here in the left hand as well. We're going to do this. Again, when they get mixed up, that's what makes them a little bit tougher. But also, once you get good at them, you'll be in great shape. All right, so there you've had a chance now to look at these for a few moments, and feel free to, of course, pause the tape if you need to. But in any event, let's see how quickly you can name them. Now, here they are, just in case. Okay, so we have G, D, E, C, F. In the left hand, I'll write these down here for the time being. C, F, G, A, B. There they are. And you have 5 notes we've learned in the right hand or the upper treble clef, 5 notes in the left hand bass or lower clef. There they are. You have already learned now by this lesson 10 individual notes. And of course, in the subsequent lessons, you'll learn a whole bunch more. But my goal is for you to get so good that none of this will be difficult and that you can read notes anytime, any place. Sure hope you'll join us for the next lesson. Thank you.